watch these players. I've been trying to keep up with as much as possible because some of the games obviously are being played at the same time. So it's difficult to obviously track them all at once. But I have to say, if there's one thing I've been happy with in terms of players that have been going on international duty is the fact that Bukayo Saka didn't go on international duty. That's one of the biggest benefits we can take from this because Saka, as we know, has been struggling with a hamstring injury for the last few weeks, and he failed to make fitness for England. He was still experiencing some discomfort on his hamstring, so they decided to to leave him at Coney. He might play in the last two internationals for England. Who knows? But as far as we know it, he is staying at London Coney, which is very good for us because we don't want to risk any more injuries. But yeah, other than that, I think everyone else has. I'm hoping that this international break gives a massive confidence boost for players that need it, like Aubameyang. Aubameyang scoring yesterday for Gabon is going to be one of the biggest benefits for Arsenal because hopefully when he comes back, we know that Aubameyang is a feel-good player. He's a confidence player. If he's feeling confident, he's on top of the world. So hopefully if he gets a couple more goals, I don't think he's allowed to play the next game because it's going to be played in the red zone. But hopefully he comes back and he's raring to go. I don't know how much more you want me to touch on it. Do you want me to speak about Odegaard and his injury?
Yeah, please, because that's what I wanted to ask you next because I had a little fright here. And I would just like to know what do you know out of London? What is the latest news from London Colony there?
So you'd be glad to know that Odegaard it's not as severe as we thought. Initially, when he went over on his ankle, we feared that it might be a ligament injury or he might have broken something in his ankle. But thankfully, he's going to be okay. There's still a few more games to play for Norway. I'm hoping that he comes back in one piece, but taking him off at halftime, I think was the best decision that Norway could have made. He went down, he then came back up, limped the last 5 minutes, and then finally they took him off. So hopefully, fingers crossed that he makes it through the international duties and he comes back to Arsenal fully fit and ready against Liverpool. But he is the captain of Norway, so it's understandable that he's gonna want to be played in every single game. I don't think Norway or the manager of Norway is gonna sit him off despite that ankle niggle. I think they're gonna want him to play as many games for them as possible.
Okay. On Saka, he stayed home. But Leno is on international duty. Has he played for the German team?
No, so Bernd Leno hasn't played. And it's interesting because Bernd Leno, I mean, the German team is a fantastic team, but when you look at their goalkeeping, goalkeeping selection lineup, they have three options to take from. They've got Manuel Neuer, they've got Ter Stegen, and then they've got Bernd Leno. So I think. Sorry, can you hear me? Hello. I think Derek's frozen again. No problem. I'm gonna just continue talking to you guys then in that case. So yeah, in terms of Bernd Leno, he's not even making the bench, I don't think. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I mean, I would have loved to. I would love to see Leno. He's one of those players that worries me a little bit with the mistakes that he's made in the last few days. I think is it my connection that's bad? No, I don't think it is.
Yo, Farah, are you there,
Are you
man?
back? Yeah, I'm still here, man. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere.
I'm here. Listen, yeah, we had this little breaking transmission again. So you were saying about Bert Leno?
Yeah. So yeah, I was saying in terms of Bernd Leno, it's going to be very difficult for him to get any minutes because with the German national team, especially in the goalkeeping selection, they've got three strong goalkeepers. You got Manuel Neuer, you got ter Stegen, and then you got Bernd Leno as well. So if Manuel Neuer is not playing, you're obviously going to then look at ter Stegen to be in goal, and then finally Bernd Leno. So I don't know how much rotation they'll do in terms of goalkeeping. I personally would like to see Bernd Leno in goal for the German national team because I think he's suffering with confidence, especially what happened at West Ham when he got beaten at his near post. He's been making a few iffy mistakes. He looks short of confidence in goals, so I would like him to get a shot at playing for his national team and maybe hope that gives him that bit of confidence that he needs. Because when Bernd Leno first signed for Arsenal, he was an amazing goalkeeper. He saved us so many times in the past, especially under Unai Emery. And I'm just hoping that hopefully we can see that form back again. I think ever since he got injured and ever since Martinez came in and took his place, that rocked his confidence a lot because he then was found in the middle of trying to compete with another goalkeeper who then eventually Arsenal sold. And then even now, there is still that conversation being had about whether we made the right decision on selling Martinez or not. So another player who's low on confidence and another player who we hope will get minutes during the international breaks. But who knows? There's a few more games left. We're just going to have to keep an eye on the selection and hope for the best. Sorry, bro, I didn't hear that. What did you say? Derek's having some real problems today. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. You're just going to have to bear with us, I'm afraid.
Are you still there?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know what the heck is going on today. Let's just go. In Miss Rowe and Ketia will be playing for the under 21s. Do you think they really need those minutes?
I think in terms of Nketiah, he needs as many minutes as he can get. Now, it was disappointing that England lost that game 1-0. I don't know. Did they lose 1-0 or was it a 0-0? I can't quite remember, but I know that England didn't score. Let me just double check to make sure. I think they did 1-0. It's the European. They lost 1-0 against Switzerland. It's the European Championship group stages. They lost 1-0. Eddie Nketiah and Smith Rowe played. Actually, England had quite a strong team, so I was quite surprised to see that they lost 1-0. And it's going to be very disappointing for someone like Nketiah, who has been, lacking in minutes at Arsenal. He's obviously keen to make an impression, to prove that he's good enough to play for Arsenal. But I think we all know at this stage that Nketiah isn't the man that's fit for the job at Arsenal up front in that number 9 role. But this is a perfect opportunity for someone like Nketiah to prove his point. If there's ever a time where he can make a statement, try and make a case for himself, it's right now. And that's I'm so disappointed that he didn't take the opportunity against Switzerland. I think for Emil Smith-Rowe, again, the more minutes he gets, the better. He's a superstar. He is one of the players that will come really good at Arsenal, and I'm hoping that he gets a good few performances and he continues to perform week in, week out, so that when he comes back at Arsenal and when we're playing against Liverpool, which is going to be a very tough game, he can come back on a high and hopefully give us a really good performance.
Yeah, man. And then also they apparently called up Lacazette, but his call up was on the last minute. It was do you think Lacazette deserves his shot French national team, considering his performances for Arsenal these couple of months?
Yeah, look, it's difficult. It really is difficult when you talk about Lacazette and when you even talk about the French national team. The French national team are tipped to win the next 3 or 4 World Cups. I mean, they have a ridiculous team. Up front, they got Kylian Mbappe, Antoine Griezmann, even Olivier Giroud. It's difficult. It's difficult to put someone like Lacazette in that conversation. I think he's proved himself that he is more than capable of being a very effective number 9. But when you look at a team like France, do they need someone of Lacazette's caliber? Do they need him to play the number 9 role the way he does, plays in deep, supports the midfield, links up with the wingers? I don't know if that's something that they're looking for, because when you got players like Mbappe, when you got players like Ousmane Dembele, Martial, etc., Marcus Thuram, Nabil Fekir, the list goes on and on. I don't think they need someone like that to play the role that he does. Even the French under-21 team, I think he's gone off again, but I'll carry on. Sorry, yeah, I don't know if you heard what I said in the last bit, but even in the French under-21 squad, they've got a very, very impressive squad.
Yeah.
They've got Odsonne Edouard, of course, Hussam Aouar. They've got players like Wesley Fofana, etc. So it's difficult. It's difficult for someone like Lacazette, the age that he's at as well, to be challenging for the French team when there's so many top caliber players up there. I didn't even mention Moussa Dembele. So it just goes to show, like, France are an unbelievable side. They will be tipped favourites to win the World Cup for the next 2-3 years. For the next 2-3 World Cups, maybe even the Euros as well. So it's harsh. It's harsh for someone like Lacazette. But if I was Lacazette, I would be focusing on performing well for his club, because he will be up for sale this summer. It is going to be pivotal that he tries to squeeze as much out of Arsenal as possible. When I mean squeezing out, I'm talking about getting as much minutes, getting as many goals, as many assists, because he's got a point to prove. He's 30 years old. I think he's turning 30 soon. The next contract that he gets will be the big one, his last big contract. So, and if it's not going to be at Arsenal, it's going to have to be somewhere else. And I'm sure that he's motivated to get himself as big of a salary as he can elsewhere, and at as big as a team as possible.
Yeah, listen, man. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Because currently this is showing me something differently. It doesn't seem like I'm on the stream. But yeah, going into we also had Runarsson, who's playing for his international team. Cedric Soares also got a call up, and Granit Xhaka is also starting as captain for the Swiss national team. Listen, man, there's a lot of speculation about Granit Xhaka and him also leaving Arsenal this current window. Do you think we still need a player like him, or do you think it's time for upgrade?
It's difficult when we're talking about someone like Granit Xhaka. We're talking about someone who's had an amazing season for us. He has been a standout in the center of midfield. Partey has helped a lot to get the best out of him. But ultimately, you're right. I think Arsenal do need an upgrade if they are to push on to try and get top 4 next season and to try and challenge for trophies. They are going to need someone more reliable and someone more consistent than Granit Xhaka. Now, it's up to him. I don't know the conversation that he's going to have with Arteta and with Edu, but I get the impression that Arteta really likes him. I get the impression that Arteta will want to keep him at all costs. And it's going to be... here's what I think. I think that if Arsenal go and buy a central midfielder, there will be that will be a competition for Granit Xhaka, and that will be almost like a motivating factor for him to perform at his best level. Arteta will say to him, if they make a signing in central midfield, look, there is still a place for you in this squad. You just need to prove it. You need to train harder and you need to perform better. Now, if Granit Xhaka decides that, okay, fine, that's what I'm going to do. I really want to prove myself here and I want to go as far as I can with Arsenal, then, you know, I see that a possibility. But Granit Xhaka as well has shown us previously that I don't think his relationship with the fans and with the club is as strong as what it used to be. I think that Granit Xhaka might see this as an opportunity to elevate himself in another club where he will be more valued. If there's one thing that footballers love more than, you know, performing well and getting money and living a good lifestyle, is being valued at the club. And if someone isn't being loved, and if someone comes into work and they're not really feeling like, you know, this is their home, this is their place, more likely than less they will move on to somewhere, you know, where they will be given all of that emotional sort of support that Arsenal fans are failing to give him.
Okay, cool, man. Thank you very much for that. On Arsenal players. Next up, I would like to speak about England and your chances of the Euros this year. What is your realistic chances of winning the Euros this year, or what is your realistic chances of winning a major trophy in these coming years? Seeing the depth of your squad, seeing the richness of your players, and yeah, everyone coming through. Why do you think the inconsistency still remain with England and not performing in major tournaments?
Yeah, it's something that England have been going through for the last God knows how many years. You know, we haven't had a successful tournament since the last World Cup where, you know, we got very lucky with the opponents that we were playing. I tend to not really value internationals and international tournaments as much because it's almost a luck of the draw. You know, the players that get together are, you know, more times than less from different clubs, sometimes from different countries. It's a difficult period for the players to gel on the pitch and to be able to implement the tactics that the manager wants. I think that Gareth Southgate is a good manager, and I think he is using the England players the right way. I believe that there is a lot of depth in the England squad and there are many options, and I think that might be their biggest downfall, because when you look at other international teams, they tend to stick with a solid starting 11 and they stick with a solid system. With England, you have in each position you have 3 or 4 different options. You know, at right back you got Reece James, and then you got Liverpool's I forget his name, right back, they got Kieran Trippier, you know,
Alexander-Arnold.
Alex Arnold. Yeah, that's right, Arnold. Yeah. You know, at the back they got so many centre backs: John Stones, Cody. They've got the likes of Dyer as well, Maguire. You know, in central midfield, that's one of the biggest competitive areas with the likes of Declan Rice, Phil Foden. Even up front, you got, you know, Calvert-Lewin, Ollie Watkins, etc. You know, there's so much competition in that squad. So unless England can find the right formula and they can find a solid starting lineup, it's going to be difficult for them to get into a rhythm and to start, you know, gelling together and to start identifying how they can approach games with 100% strength. I mean, they beat, you know, San Marino 5-0. But also, I think it will show, you know, it will be very interesting to see what the group tables will look like in the Euros. I don't know if they've been released or not. I don't think so. But, you know, like I said, internationals more times than less is very much to do with luck of the draw, who you play, and at what form you're playing, and also what form the opposition are going to be. But England, like anyone else, have an amazing chance to try and win the Euros. But as well, you see teams around you, you know, the likes of Belgium, who have an incredible team. Denmark have a good team as well. Even Odegaard's team, I forget the name. Norway have a very good team as well. So I think he's gone off again with bad internet issues. But I'll just say to you guys, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to win the Euros. you're gonna need a group of players that are consistently performing in every game. That they need to be psychologically as well clear, psychologically on job. So let's see what happens.
Okay, cool, man. Listen, for Chelsea then, okay, just to touch on the England squad. Listen, man, the reason I think for the inconsistencies of the England squad is they haven't had a coach since what's that guy's name, Sven-Goran Eriksson, who got you into some sort of playoff finals. You haven't had that coach who can remember those boys. They have big egos and coming together. Gareth Southgate has to make them gel. And to tell you the truth, man, I don't know Gareth Southgate as a coach, and I don't know what he has won yet. So I don't know why they made him England coach. But as for me, I don't think he has the capabilities to take you further than what he already has. He's a great developer of talent and a great developer of a pool. But as for getting over the line, I'm of this mind, man. If you're going to win something, you have to have won something in the past, either as a player or as a manager. And what has he won? Can you perhaps tell me?
I don't know. It's a good question. I can probably find out for you what Gareth Southgate's won, but I'm sure he hasn't won much. I mean, I remember Gareth Southgate when he was managing Middlesbrough. So when he got the England job, it was a surprise for me. But if there's one thing I guess if there's one thing that I can appreciate about Gareth Southgate is that he knows how to bring players together and he knows how to put that feel-good factor into a team. But you're absolutely right. You mentioned Sven-Göran Eriksson's England side, and if there's one thing that is, if there's one thing which is missing from this England side that Sven's England team had, is that stability there. I have to say, personally, I think there's more talent in this England team today than there was in Sven-Göran Eriksson's team. But the only difference is that he had stability. He knew who he was playing. When you talk about England, when you talk about the England team of that time, you're talking about Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard playing midfield, David Beckham out on the right-hand side, maybe Joe Cole on the left-hand side. You got Wayne Rooney up front. You got Jamie Carragher sitting in the middle. You got Gary Neville as well on the right-hand side, Rio Ferdinand. So you know that there is a solid foundational base there. But with the England team today, I can't predict what Gareth Southgate is going to play next game because too many players, too much talent there to try and take advantage of. But that's something that he needs to fix, and that's something that he needs to try and get around as soon as possible. Otherwise, they're not going to take advantage of the amount of talent that they've got.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's head over to Portugal. We spoke about the French, we spoke about the Arsenal players, we spoke about England. Portugal team. So they played a game and which they won. But Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes hasn't been on their top form. And also Bruno Fernandes, these last couple of games, last month or so, he has been quite off the boil. Do you think tiredness is starting to kick in right now with those two players, especially with Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes, or do you just think that the pressure is too high on them and that's why they are underperforming?
Look, there's no doubt that Bruno Fernandes is an incredible player. Of course he is. He's pretty much carried Manchester United throughout, ever since he signed for them. If it hadn't been for Fernandes, United would be in deep trouble, like they were before he came, before he came to the squad. But I think at this point of the season, there is something we call fatigue, which a lot of lower teams experience. So it's surprising that Fernandes is experiencing some form of fatigue at this moment in time. Look, I don't know if it's fatigue or I don't know whether it's just a spell that he's going through. It definitely goes hand in hand with the way United are playing and with the way Oli is setting up United. Personally, crushing out the FA Cup was a terrible thing for them. It's going to have a massive knock-on effect on their confidence. But going into the Europa League, they have a very, very easy, not maybe to say easy, a little bit unfair, but they've got a very good opportunity of progressing into the semi-finals and then the finals by facing Granada. So maybe we'll see the best of him against Granada. But look, the way I wouldn't be too concerned about the way that Fernandes is performing at the minute. I think he is a great player with amazing talent. He just needs, amazing players around him, I guess, to elevate him to that next level. And it'll be interesting to see what United do in the summer transfer window to try and get the best out of him, to try and maximize that asset that they've got in Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, listen, man. to tell you the truth, I honestly rate that Portugal squad that they have this season, especially with the likes of Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, and a lot of other great players, except for Ronaldo, that they have in the squad. Raul Moutinho, and the whole Wolves team, actually, to tell you the truth, the whole Wolves team, I think they're just going to take that Wolves team and put it in there. I think Nuno is actually developing players for the national team, because if you can look at that starting lineup, it's a lot of Portugal flags there, man. How do you realistically rate the chances of winning the Euros?
Who Portugal?
Yes.
Portugal have an amazing chance, and with Cristiano Ronaldo there as well, he's going to be absolutely motivated to try and win a last European trophy, a European title with his national side before he retires. I don't think there's many years left in his legs, but they will be up for it this year. They will be absolutely up for it, and they have a very, very good team, like you said, with Ronaldo, with Neto, Silva, Moutinho, Neves, Cancelo, Diaz, Mendes, the list goes on and on and on. Even on their bench with Jose Fonte, Fernando, Oliveira, Sanchez, Jota, how Felix. It is a top-notch squad. I think if you're looking at a final, you probably be putting your money on Portugal and France to battle it out into the finals, because both of their teams are so ridiculously talented and good. It's mouth-watering stuff. So I'm hoping that Portugal do reach the finals. But like I said, with internationals, it's anyone's game on the day. They beat Azerbaijan 1-0 the other day. On paper, you're thinking they should be cruising past Azerbaijan. They didn't even score a goal. The goal was scored by an Azerbaijani player. So it really is down to who wants it more on the day. Now, if Portugal can be up for it, and if they can be as motivated as possible throughout the Euros, they've got every chance of lifting that trophy.
Okay, cool, man. Listen, as you said, a France in Portugal final. That's what I'm wishing for. Ever since I've been a France fan since 1998. So I was 10 years old when I watched. Actually, I did watch football, but I wasn't that interested until that final, when my brother made me sit down, because he told me, "Listen, this is Brazil versus France. Check these guys out. Check out football." And I instantly fell in love with Zinedine Zidane and his double header that he gave in that final. And they converted me into French up to now. And I haven't been, how can you say in Afrikaans, you say spite, but I never regretted the chance that for supporting the French team. So, heading into Germany, man. Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, all those guys are on international duty. I don't know if you watched the show that I had with a couple of German guys. So FC Freiburg, and the other one supports KSC, which is the Bundesliga second division, which is also a platform to which the German guys love, and I really love their support on the videos, because I can see the German following, which we're also gaining. And we had this discussion at last about a potential 11 for them, and they have also, the same as England, they have a pool of international brilliance, man. But the thing is, at the end of the Euros, Hakim Low is the coach that's going to retire. What do you think that means to the German national team? Do you think their standards are going to drop after that?
I don't think whoever manages Germany, I don't think they will be in trouble, because like you say, the amount of talent that they got in there is amazing. And what I love about Germany, what I love about the way that they play football, is they're a very technically gifted side. So whereas, we have someone like France or England who have pace for days going down the flanks, players that can run, dribble past players. Germany, on the other hand, are a team that love to play football around teams for fun. So, I mean, the last game they played against Iceland, they beat them 3-0. And, we know what Iceland's capable of against the big teams. Iceland isn't any old team. They're a good national side, and for Germany to beat them 3-0 is making a statement. You just look at that starting 11 with Kimmich, Gundogan, Goretzka in midfield, and then you got Havertz, Gnabry, Sane. Even on the bench, you got the likes of Werner in there and Wirtz. So it is a very, very talented side. Now, I know it's a similar case with Arsenal, because Joachim Low has been there for years on end. I can't remember a German side with a different manager. That's how long he's been there. So I don't know. I don't know the type of impact that it will have when they eventually get appointed a new manager. Who takes over? Number one, that's the big question. Are they going to be of German nationality or not is another question as well. I think it has an impact either way. And yeah, what type of overall impact is that going to have on the way that they play football? Because the brand of football that they play has been heavily influenced on the way that Lowe wants them to play in terms of using everyone's strengths, playing in a particular type of system, passing the ball, in and around each other, playing really technical football. So it'll be interesting to see how they sort of transform and, what approach they take going forward.
Yeah, listen, man, I don't think they have a shortage of German coaches if Hakim Low should go. They have the likes of Jurgen Klopp, they have Hansi Flick, they have Thomas Tuchel, they have Ralf Hasenhüttl. Listen, man, there's a German production line of coaches coming through. It just depends who wants to take the job. And still stay in that fashion like the Germans love it. Understand? So yeah, as for the Germans, how do you rate their chances of winning these Euros? Because those Germans weren't confident at all. They said, nah, we're not in that. We're not in that.
Yeah, and that's when they're most dangerous. A team is most that they're dangerous when they are not really expecting to challenge for any titles. They'll go in there with no pressure, and I guess with some teams playing with no pressure can almost see the best of them. I think in the grand scheme of things, I think there are some amazing teams to watch out for. Even past the big international sides, you got teams like Belgium, Norway as well. Small European sides that have bags of talent. So it will be interesting to see what Germany can do. Ultimately, they will be favorites, even if they don't consider themselves favorites. They are a superpower. Between Germany, France, and there's another team that we just spoke about who I've completely forgotten. Portugal. Between Germany, France, and Portugal, those three will be up for it. If you're talking about the mid-tier teams, and I'm talking about teams like Spain have fallen off massively. Spain, England, the Netherlands are, they got battered by Turkey 4-2 the other day. They're nowhere to be seen as well. But I think the superpowers there are Germany, France, and Portugal.
Okay, the last team I want to talk about, which I also know that you forgot, is the Belgium team.
Yes.
Listen, man, that team is fired up. That team just seems to get better and better each and every tournament. And yeah, players like De Bruyne hasn't been on the firing best these last couple of months, but it doesn't write them off as serious contenders to win the Euros, right? What would you say the chances are?
I've always tipped Belgium to be favourites for every tournament, and it's just such a surprise that they haven't delivered yet. It really is, because the amount of talent in that Belgium squad, and I would argue that this year we've seen a stronger Belgium side previously going into that World Cup in wherever it was. Completely forgot where it was held, but that World Cup, we saw a very, very strong a Belgium side. Even this time around, they've got a brilliant side. They beat Wales 3-1. You don't even need to talk about De Bruyne, because you're right. He didn't even start. Did he start? No, he did start. Sorry, he got a goal.
No, he didn't even start. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. But I'm talking in their midfield alone, with the likes of Tielemans, then Donker, Hazard's brother, Tygan Hazard, Meunier, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Mertens, De Bruyne, Lukaku. On their bench, Trossard, Mignolet obviously in goal, Denayer, Januzaj, who's having a great time in La Liga, Dennis Prayat, Benteke, Castagne, Batshuayi. They've got a decent squad. They've got a lot of depth, which is what you need in order to play an international tournament. But what I look at is their starting 11. And their starting 11 for me is strong enough to beat any team. But one thing with Belgium, we've seen time and time again, is that you can have all the best players in the world in one team, but if they don't gel together, ultimately, if they don't know how to play football together, then it's all going to crumble. And we've seen it in big tournaments. For some reason, they just don't turn up in the big tournaments, and they don't deliver they're just not able to gel together as a group when the pressure is on them. And I just hope that they've sorted out that problem. And with someone like Martinez as a coach as well, it's surprising because he's someone who is tactically so good at setting up teams. You remember the times when he was at Wigan, and when they won the FA Cup. Yeah, exactly. So it's surprising. Maybe he's not the right man for them. And Thierry Henry as an assistant coach as well. I don't know. It's weird.
No. He was at Everton also, Roberto Martinez, if I'm correct, right? And he did some great work at Everton. So he's a really highly respected coach, but also, the thing is, comes again, and like I mentioned in the beginning, what have you won? What have you won as a coach? What have you won as a player? That plays a real big role in the mentality of getting over the line. Yeah. So, Farhan, thank you very much, man. Thank you very much for joining us. I don't want to keep you any further. That was the 4 teams that I wanted to quickly discuss in the international breaks. So for us in the final or the semi-final is going to be German. It's going to be the Germans, going to be the French, going to be Portugal, and the last team Belgium. So man. And your money's on who?
I think it's difficult to look past France. I think France for me are ridiculously strong. The strength and depth in that team is the superpowers there. But also what I like about the French national squad, let me just bring it up here. The French national squads don't just have superstars. They've got players that are decent upcoming footballers, and they can play football together. That's something that I realized about the French national team. They gel very well. But you only need to look at their front forwards. Kylian Mbappe, Antoine Griezmann, even Olivier Giroud. And Olivier Giroud fits perfectly in this French national team because the way that they play football. He knows. Yeah, absolutely. He knows his job. But not just that. The players around him know what he wants. And Giroud in the box is one of the most deadliest players in Europe. Almost like Lewandowski. As soon as he's in that box, as soon as he's got the ball, whether it's on his feet or whether it's in the air, he knows how to finish. He's a finisher. And I wish we knew that. I wish we figured out how to use Olivier Giroud before he left the Chelsea because he's ripping it up. He's even at the age that he's at right now. How old is he? He's 34 years old. He's still considered number 1 for France. So, the talent is there. The talent is there.
Listen, man, you would have suited the Mikel Arteta system perfectly because you would have done what Lacazette is doing far better. He's a great hold-up player. He doesn't need to do a lot of running. They know he's almost like a springboard. Give him the ball. He lays it off to you. You make the runs. He gets into the box and he kills you. And I like the way the French are playing football. As you said, they know how to gel. Each and everyone knows each other's strength. They know what is each other's weaknesses. And that's why I love them. Especially the final they played against Croatia, it was a perfect game. They were looking to calm things down and hit the Croatians on the counter-attack because they knew the Croatians had better ball control. The Croatians were fitter than them, but they had Mbappe. And that is the most dangerous weapon on earth. If you have a player like that with pace, he can devour any competition. Listen, Farhan, man, it's been a pleasure as always speaking to you. It's been fun. And it's been frantic. It doesn't even seem like an hour that we've been on air. Man, but is there anything you would like to say to your South African friends out on this side? Tell me, have you had a lot of following from our side in terms of your videos, in terms of your analytics? Can you see something?
Yeah, I can. I mean, I know. I do actually have quite a few viewers from Africa as a whole, like Nigeria and stuff. So big up to the African continent because you guys are killing it, and I know that Arsenal have a massive following in Africa. So shout out to you guys, man. I think the most passionate fans I've come across have come from the African continent. So shout out to you guys, man. Keep up the good work. And thank you very much for all the support that you guys have been giving me. It's been really humbling. It's been very, very nice to meet new people. More than anything, I think making videos about Arsenal is great. Making a YouTube channel and growing is great. But more than anything, meeting new Arsenal fans and being able to have a conversation with them is incredible. Especially, seeing as we're in 2 different continents. This wouldn't be possible if we weren't Arsenal fans and if we didn't have a platform. So it's great. It's fantastic. And I want it to continue.
Yeah. Listen, man, Farhan, I thank you very much for always being available. When I ask you to join us on the show and always giving your best insights and your best technical analysis and also your best information to us as we SoccerKalitzStyle in South Africa. We really appreciate you. We really love you as a content creator and we really love what you are doing. And thank you for your channel that's growing. We are also growing, and I hope one of these days, I really hope one of these days, me and you can sit together and watch a football game live in England versus
Yeah,
Arsenal, Arsenal versus whoever team. Yeah, so nothing else you'd like to say, Farhan?
yeah, definitely. No, man, other than just look, keep up the good
Thank you
work. I know
very
you guys
much.
hit 100 subscribers, so keep up the good work. Congratulations on that. And hopefully one day when this whole coronavirus situation, leaves
Yeah.
us and you're able to come down to the UK, we can meet, we can watch a game, and it will be a
Yeah.
very, very, it'll be a beautiful story.
It will be a beautiful story, man. Listen, Farhan, thank you very much. Guys, as you heard it, straight from London, UK, London Colony, the headquarters of Arsenal Football Club, and all the international news. This is hashtag SoccerKalitzStyle in Ghana since '96, signing out.
Thank you guys. Bye bye.